Every day, cattlemen and women care for their land and their animals. They do so because they're committed to leaving what they have better than they found it. Today, we're looking at a couple of regional winners of the Environmental Stewardship Award. Let's take you to New Mexico to see the Region 6 award winner.
In northeast New Mexico, Ute Creek Cattle Company has been in the same family for more than 200 years. Tuda Libby Cruz is the 7th generation to ranch on this land.
Jack and I lived in Wyoming, Cheyenne, Wyoming for 37 years, had a wonderful life there. I knew we'd come back to the ranch eventually. My heart never left. And although I had a wonderful life, I was very excited about coming home.
When Tuda and Jack inherited the 14,000-acre ranch, it was suffering from overgrazing and neglect. So they decided to make some major changes. The first step was partnering with their Soil and Water Conservation District, as well as the Natural Resources Conservation Service, to clean up Ute Creek, which runs through their operation.
And the first thing we did was fence off the riparian area for 10 miles through the ranch. That would preclude cattle from grazing. And the ground has just improved so dramatically. You can see it's sod covered. The shore is grass right up to the water. We're sub-irrigating this whole riparian area now, and it's working beautifully.
We started on the creek, sprayed salt cedar, fenced the creek out, started in the riparian area, so we kind of started from the bottom up, and Jack and Tuda had a vision from the beginning of where they wanted to be in the end. It's an amazing transformation of what they've done to the place.
And I think the creek is probably the cornerstone of all the work that we've done in the last 18 years. It's our pride and joy.
The fencing around the creek became the starting point for a new grazing system. Tuda and Jack installed 25 additional miles of fencing, which divided the original 4 large pastures into smaller, more manageable paddocks.
We were able to run fences out from the riparian border fences to create our 23 new pastures. And so it really worked slick. It was like a grand plan that came together. And they vary in size from 300 acres to 2,000.
We have a good overall plan, and then we adapt it as we need to, kind of on the fly, and what the land is telling us. Because you can really lay out a plan on the computer or have this big plan, which is good, but you need to be able to read the land and the environment and kind of watch and let it tell you what you need to do.
We know that this adaptive grazing plan and this time-managed grazing through this system creates the most productive regrowth. And so we use our cattle as a tool to maximize forage production and to help control invasives, because the more you graze and you graze it well, the fewer weeds come back.
Jack and Tuda are very progressive whenever it comes to any type of innovative ideas, when it comes to beef cattle, as well as soil health. They're always right on top of any of the new innovations that come out. They're just real leaders, and they're always willing to try something new too. They're not afraid, and they're willing to take that step and try.
Since Ute Creek was no longer available as a water source, a new distribution system was installed to ensure cattle can have access to water anywhere on the ranch.
We determined the highest point on the ranch, which is on that hill over to the east, and we put 2 10,000-gallon water storage tanks, and then that gravity flow allowed us to put in pipelines, probably 25 miles of pipeline, and all 2-inch poly pipes so we could have plenty of recharge. And then we take water all over the ranch from that point.
It's a big deal having access to the water. I feel where the pairs can come up and those calves can drink next to their mothers and get what they want and then go lay down and chew their cud or go back out and graze, whatever they want to do.
Ute Creek Cattle Company also added shade balls in their tanks to help reduce water loss. The balls allow for rain to pass through while reducing evaporation.
It's calculated that the balls will save 91% of water from evaporation. And on a 20-foot tank, that equates to over 16,000 gallons of water a year. Pretty significant in this dry area.
Thanks to their conservation efforts, wildlife on the ranch is thriving, and Tuda even set aside 23 acres of pasture to create her own wild bird sanctuary.
Shortgrass prairie birds are imperiled. I mean, there's so much development going on. We're losing them at a very large rate. So having this just special allocated place for them to thrive and nest and breed and eat, and that's my pride and joy.
Tuda and Jack are always thinking about their children and grandchildren and the future of Ute Creek Cattle Company. It's why they work hard to make a positive difference on the land.
My wife is 7th generation on this land. 7 generations. She wants it to be 8 and 9 and 10. We can tout how much we've done, but it's just a beginning. It's a forever kind of project.
We do not inherit the land, we borrow it from our children. And so we have borrowed this land from Libby and Ted, and we've done the best that we could to leave it better than we found it. I have such a love of the land and such a commitment to honoring the people who work so hard to keep it in our family. And I feel a deep responsibility as well as a love for it.
If you'd like to find out more about the Environmental Stewardship Award winners, see photos and videos, or even learn how to nominate someone for the award next year, visit the website environmentalstewardship.org.